We got some more insight as to how much Xbox actually pays to get games onto Xbox Game Pass. All right, guys, before we get into this, I have 4 months to hit my goal of 10,000 subscribers. I see a lot of you are new to this channel. If you are, please consider hitting that subscribe button if you enjoy this video. So the discussion around Xbox Game Pass, the deals, how Xbox gets these games onto the service, particularly on day one, and the discussion as to how much they pay developers has been something that people have been debating and discussing for a very long time, ever since really they started expanding Game Pass and getting a bunch of games on it all the time. Phil Spencer has come out, talked about how they make these deals, and has pretty much said there is a different deal depending on the game and depending on what the goal of the developers are and what they want to do. We've seen deals, or we've heard about deals where they just pay their marketing and production costs, and then anything else going forward is just the benefit of Xbox Game Pass, because the developers don't have to worry about making all of that money back, but then they'll still be able to make money off of people playing the game and buying microtransactions or purchasing the game outright after trying it. We've seen other deals where it's kind of they pay them for how many people play the game or how long people play the game. And that obviously will be for different styles of games. So we got some more information here about how much Xbox actually paid an indie developer for the game Cooking Simulator. So this is a game that originally launched back in Steam on 2019. So it's an older game, and it wasn't a day one game or anything like that, but it just recently came on to Xbox Game Pass, and it was developed by Big Cheese Studios, and they've revealed just the exact amount of money that they actually got from Xbox and from Microsoft to put the game onto Xbox Game Pass. Now that amount of money is $600,000. It says here the software giant made a one-time payment of $600,000 to the Cooking Simulator creators in order to include the game on Game Pass. Big Cheese Studio got a terrific bargain because the sum received from Microsoft is about equal to 22% of its revenue from the previous fiscal year. So that's, I mean, an absolutely incredible deal for Big Cheese. You can't beat that. 22% of your revenue from last year paid out to you in a single lump sum payment. And I mean, Cooking Simulator overall was a pretty successful game if we look at some of the numbers for what they did when they first released this game. In terms of the actual sales of the game, they say here that 700,000 copies of the game have sold overall, and an additional 400,000 copies of various add-ons have sold. So not a failure of a game for an indie studio by any stretch of the imagination, but it did come out in 2019. And it says here, when you take a look at the Steam database statistics, the 24-hour peak player count is less than 300 players, which I mean makes a ton of sense for this studio. The game came out, probably had a decent amount of people playing it right away for a little bit, and now just to reinvigorate their revenue for the game, they go over to Xbox Game Pass. They say, hey, what can we do? Xbox offers them 22% of the revenue from the previous fiscal year, and they get to put it to a brand new audience of players who have never checked it out. I even jumped in to Cooking Simulator. So this is just a quick kind of breakdown and insight as to what Xbox does for these indie games. The numbers are probably much larger for bigger games, but $600,000, incredible for an indie developer. For Xbox, for Microsoft, it's peanuts. It's really not that much money. And all those people out there that think that putting games into Xbox Game Pass don't help developers, hinder games, hinder the ability for them to be able to make money for a second game or for a sequel or anything like that, I think this right here is big proof that, I mean, Cooking Simulator just made an additional $600,000 just to put it into Xbox Game Pass after the game has already been out for 3 years. Something that if Xbox Game Pass wasn't around, if the service wasn't around, if the player base and the users within Xbox Game Pass weren't high enough, that wouldn't have been available. And you think about 25+ million subscribers on this service, Xbox has a lot of cash to go out and make great deals like this for indie developers, for big AAA developers. I mean, there is a bunch of indie games that are coming day one, and I'm sure there was a great payoff for those indie developers to put those games into the service. Like Midnight Fight Express is coming at the end of this month. That game looks absolutely amazing, getting great reviews. So the Game Pass service continues to grow. The more that the big games come in there to bring up the subscriber base, the more deals Xbox will be able to do, and the more deals that they will do in order to bring over older indie games, newer indie games, and then those big AAA games coming over day one to the service. That's it for me, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think about the deal for Cooking Simulator? What other deals do you think Xbox is going to be doing going forward? And overall, do you think Game Pass is good for the developers? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you liked what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.